Hello, everyone, and welcome into the first IPL, it's pronounced Lajoie podcast of this new season. Not so new right now, I guess. And pardon us if we sound very frustrated and ticked off today, but the Indians looked atrocious this series, facing a bad team with the Twins. I will be your host, Noah Gross, on Twitter at Noah_Gross27. I write for IPL. And joining me today again is Chris Burnham. He also writes for IPL. He had a great article come out last Thursday on Salazar trade rumors. He does not really believe in them. We might touch on that more later. And follow him on Twitter at CMB1979. Chris, so we talked about this a little earlier. This is one of the worst two-game stretches I've seen in a while. I'm not really seeing a team have their play dictated by the weather more than these last two games, and even earlier in the season when they played the Red Sox and it was cold and rainy and just awful weather. So is their play. Is there any takeaway you have other than just they were atrocious and we got to put it behind us, or is this just like something that can carry on how bad we were in this series versus a bad team in the Twins?
Well, I guess you could even say the series in Houston was a series that they probably should have won as well. And if you're looking at the calendar, this stretch coming up here was a stretch that they could have really done some damage on. And unfortunately, they had the damage done to them. And you got to wonder what adjustments can be made to get them back on the right track. And I'm really starting to think that they have to sweep this home with the Reds to make this stretch worth something.
Oh, I'm with you. They need to start beating up on bad teams, and the Twins are just driving me nuts right now. How they have, I think 10 wins this whole year, 4 against us, 2 in walk-off fashion, and the other 2 in just miserable fashion back home. But talking about today's game specifically, Bauer, I mean, the start before that in Houston, he looked dominant, but apparently he just always dominates Houston. They can't hit him for some reason. But today versus the Twins, he faces a bunch of no-names, and he did, I think, pretty well. His stuff was great. His curveball was tight. His fastball was moving. I think he had good pitch sequencing, but his location was still not there. Are you seeing anything new from Bauer? Because I'm starting to think that this is just Trevor Bauer. He's just always going to be inconsistent, and he's going to have the stuff, but he's not going to be able to be like a lockdown, like 1 or 2 guy. He's going to be a back end of the rotation guy, or a guy that has upside and can never really fulfill it.
I asked this question out loud on Twitter, I think even last week. And you got to wonder if he's just the guy, if what you see now is what you're going to get. You're going to have to take the good with the bad with this guy. And today, I thought he was really good. It's just the offense was deplorable. And, you can't win with no runs. You can barely win with 1 run. And when you're giving up 5 runs to a team like the Twins this year, you might as well just forget it and move on. So, but Bauer is what he is. I don't think he'll ever be that top first line starter that the Diamondbacks thought he was going to be. I think he's pretty well slotted in where he is right now. If he has days like today, you can't really complain much because that's pretty good on an average major league starter's resume anyway. So I was pretty happy with what he gave us today.
All right, so if he is what he is, which I said I agree with you on that, and I remember watching Bruce Drennan last year, and he said Bauer had this is 27 starts in the last year, and Bauer had 9 good starts, 9 decent starts, and 9 bad starts. So if that's what Bauer is, just inconsistent, do you want that on your team? Would you rather have, I mean, obviously Cody Anderson's struggling right now, but who would you rather have out of those two for the 5th spot right now? Because I want to bring up a minor leaguer. Tomlin did not pitch amazing on Friday, but he kept us in the game. I still like Tomlin. And I want a minor leaguer to come up, take Anderson's spot. But are you more comfortable with like Bauer, Anderson, or bringing up like just like a slew of AAA guys to take both their spots?
Well, I think if you're bringing up guys from Columbus, I think you're punting on the season already, and it's still too early to do that. But for your original question, I guess I'd go with Bauer. Um, I think because to me, Anderson is nothing more than a harder throwing Jake Westbrook, and at least Bauer has the potential if he got anything left to scratch, you know. Um, and he was the top pick, and so I think I can't believe I'm saying this, but I think you have to ride it out with Bauer and see just maybe he can figure it out and become that top line guy that you thought he was going to be at one point.
I agree that I'd rather have Bauer than Anderson, but I don't agree that you said if you bring up AAA guys, you're punting on the season because the stats in some of these guys. Clevenger's the hot name right now. Everybody's been talking about him for about 6 months or so. Well, since the end of last season when he was really killing it with Columbus. He's 5-0 this year. Obviously, win-loss record doesn't really mean much, but his ERA is 3.03 and 7 starts. And a guy that's not really getting much attention that I'm starting to really like is Will Roberts, a big 6'5 righty from Virginia. He's 3-1 with a 2.06 ERA and 6 starts. Yes, this is decently small sample sizes, but at some point, the big league, and I'm all for nursing the talent like the Indians did to Lindor, taking your time in the minor leagues. But at some point, the big leagues are the most important team, obviously. And Cody Anderson is not fooling anybody with strictly using his fastball and changeup, and once in a while throwing a curveball in there. So I'm ready to bring up one of these two guys. Clevenger seems like the name that would be the presumptive guy to come up. Are you okay with bringing up either of these guys, or do you still think it's like punting on the season, like you said?
At this point, something's got to change. You know, they always say that you have to wait 40 games into the season to see what you have, but we've been sputtering left and right with, I think our longest winning streak this season so far is what, 4 games, correct?
Something like that.
And so there hasn't really been much in the way of really getting rolling here. And that again brings me back to this stretch where you're looking at it and you're thinking, you know, this is something we can really get going with. And they're stagnant right now, and who knows what the magic word or magic move that they can use to rectify everything right now. Because it's really, you know, it's starting to, it's too early to get super nervous about things. But if you wait too much longer, you're out of the playoff picture entirely already. So I wouldn't mind it. I just think I'm kind of weary on just your background, the guys from Columbus, though. Right now, I don't know. Maybe that's just, you know, maybe I'm just wary of that jump that they have to make. But at some point, they're gonna have to do it and see what they have. So
yeah, I mean, I understand what you're saying, but even if you look at Cody Anderson last year, clearly his stuff is not exceptional. I mean, he has good deception between his fastball and changeup and some decent movement on those
everybody
pitches.
knows.
What was that?
I was gonna say everybody knows what he has now. There's a book on him now, and he's not fooling guys like he was for that stretch last summer. So
yeah, but you're right there. My point is that the first 4 or 5 or however many starts a pitcher comes up with, the hitters aren't going to have much of a book on him, as you said. So hitters did not understand Anderson's stuff last year that much in his first few starts. So he did well, and I assume that if one of these guys, Clevenger, Roberts, whoever does end up coming up, or hopefully comes up, that hitters aren't going to have a book on them. They only need to come up for about, let's hope, like 4 or 5, maybe 6 starts, however long Carrasco's out. So it's not like they're going to be up for the whole season unless they just start blowing people away. So yeah. I'm comfortable with them coming up for just a few starts to fill in, and then after that, Carrasco coming back in, and then just only having to pitch one of the Bauer-Anderson combination, because having both of them in the rotation is not something that I like to see.
Yeah, you're right. I did like Clevenger when I saw him in the spring. So he is a guy that I do have in mind. going that way, I'm kind of wary about that. You know, the guys that you have are the guys you want to ride with, but you're right. Anderson is not getting done. Bauer accepted for the most part. Uh, you never know what you're gonna get, like I said. So wouldn't hurt, I guess. It's just I'm kind of wary.
Yeah, and something I want to talk about, not really Indians related, but this just kind of drove me nuts. I don't know if you noticed this too, but Danny Santana, the center fielder for the Twins, does he not make every ball the most interesting play you've ever seen in your life? Like he slips, he spins every single route. Did you notice this too, or was this just me? Because it was driving me nuts, the routes he took to the baseball.
And he seems to catch everything, and then you have guys like Rajai Davis yesterday whose feet slide out from underneath him, or he loses the ball in the front twice in the same game. Yeah, ball dropped. You know, it wouldn't have been that big of a deal, but everything about this series just stinks. Even the first game where it was like nip and tuck. You're trying to keep Park and Cano in the ball yard, and you know they were hitting them halfway up the bleachers. It was just a really to watch.
Yeah, definitely agree with that. And for everyone listening, I apologize. There seems to be a few technical difficulties on one of our ends. We're not sure we're just going to keep powering through though. But like you said, the Twins didn't make our ballpark look small. I was there on Friday, and Tomlin just looks wildly underwhelming in person, even more so on TV. His stuff, there's no velocity. He needs to spot it like perfectly to get it by anybody, and just power hitters, if they can get a hold of his pitches, which are often flat. His curveball, I love his curveball, but other than that, his pitches are not very great. They're just hitters are making the ballpark look small. I still like Tomlin, but at some point, like he needs to start being more consistent with his starts. And he's been consistent. He was the king of quality starts back in when was he good? 2011 or 2012, something like that. But this season, I'm not seeing it start in and start out like some of these pitchers and all of these guys. Their velocity, like Kluber, I still love Kluber. No run support like usual, but his velocity seems to be down. And all these starters, something that seems to be a common theme with them is they give up the big hit to no names. Like today was the Polanco guy and the Cedeno guy. They're both their first home runs. Are you seeing anything from Tomlin or Kluber that you like or don't like? Because they're both kind of getting on my nerves a little bit right now.
Yesterday was bad all around. You don't like seeing your ace just missing spot and just I don't know who any of these guys are. And you know, it's one thing if you give one up to like Miguel Cabrera or Jose Abreu, but you know, there are just some guys that you're just not supposed to give up the big hit to, and the Twins are full of those types of guys, except for Park and Cano, and you know, Mao's not what he used to be, so he doesn't strike the kind of fear that he used to strike into you anymore. But yeah, it was just I don't know if they were just looking at the schedule or looking at the record, playing down to the competition. Maybe that's a thing. Who knows? But these past 3 games not good. Even they're lucky to have won one of the games because they didn't play well at all this weekend at all.
Definitely agree with you on that. And then I want to talk about the lineup a little bit. So people have fallen in love with Santana leading off. And at first, I was kind of 50-50 on it. But the more I think about it, there's no real reason why he shouldn't be leading off other than the speed factor. Because people love to have a leadoff hitter with power, which Santana, he has more power than most leadoff hitters. Not as much power as most cleanup hitters where he has been hitting. So I like the power in the first spot. He gets on base, and yes, the speed is a bit of an issue, but he seems to be a decently smart base runner. And the only other guy that the Indians have really tried there, Rajai Davis, has been hitting 210 this year. Let me make sure. Yeah, 210 this year with only 2 home runs. So I'm basically all in on Santana being the everyday leadoff hitter now. Are you with me on that, or do you want to mix it in?
I am too. I'm a prototypical guy anyway. So the problem with Santana is his swing is always so, like you saw at the end of the game today, when we finally get something rolling, and you got the 2 base runners on, and he's got that super duper long swing, and his run doesn't even mean anything if he hits a home run. If they could get him just to cut his swing down just a little bit, I think he'd be fine. I'm like you. I'm perfectly okay with position. It's not so much a speed position anymore because there are so many guys that can drive him in with a home run anyway these days. You have very few old school traditional leadoff guys today, like the guy from Cincinnati, Billy Hamilton. He's the only guy that I can really think of that fits the old profile, quote unquote leadoff hitter really is. So yeah, I'm fine with it. He seems to be pretty comfortable in that. Here, you're only leading off one time every game anyway, so
Yeah, and then with Santana in the leadoff spot, the rest of the lineup, everybody bumps down a spot essentially. Do you like Brantley hitting 4th, or because basically to me it looks like Kipnis, Lindor, and Brantley are all 2 and 3 hitter. Well, Kipnis is, to me, I would like him in 1 hole, but that's not going to happen, so I'm not even going to argue for that. But I like Brantley. He's been struggling, but when he comes back, it looks like he's still going to be the 4 hitter. Do you like that, or do you like Napoli hitting 5th? Because we don't have a true 4 hitter. Like, we haven't had one since Hafner in 08 when he was dominant, but we have too many just like guys that will hit line drives, which sounds good, but you need the guy to drive him in. And Napoli, he hits in the low 200s. So I don't know how I feel about Brantley hitting 4th. Are you comfortable with that? Because it frustrates me, but I love Brantley and I need him high in the lineup. So there's just too many guys up there, which is a good problem to have. So I don't know where to bat him, but would you keep Brantley in the 4 hole?
I prefer to have Napoli there. I'd prefer to have Brantley in the 3 hole, but and maybe Lindor down, maybe to like 7. He's throwing the wrench in the whole thing. Even though you have to have him in there, even though he's struggling a little bit right now, especially today where you saw the frustration kind of boil over. Let's see. Perfect world, I'd like Santana leading off. Kipnis seems to be fine and cracking. Brantley 3rd, Napoli 4. Work on your way down there.
I agree with the whole moving Lindor thing down, but most fans would not take too kindly to that, as they see Lindor as a god in Cleveland, essentially, like he can do no wrong. But at the end of the day, you can't have Brantley as your 4 hitter for too long, I think, because there's just not enough power in that 4 spot.
Yeah, that's not his forte. His forte is the line drive, double. If that's what he's hitting all the time, you're happy with that.
True, and then I want to talk a little bit about the bullpen, because the bullpen is the most aggravating thing to me. Well, actually, it's not. The whole team is very aggravating, but the bullpen is one of the many aggravating things right now. And like I said, at the game Friday, Brian Shaw kind of blew it again, which he has tended to do a lot this year. And whenever I watch him, his velocity's there, his movement's there, all his pitches are still moving, but he's not locating and he's not getting results. And a name that I've been thinking about more and more is Jabba Chamberlain. This guy has looked dominant all season long.
Yeah, he's
And
been nailed.
yeah, he
Going back to
four guys.
Shaw, though, I'm wondering if he's tipping pitches somehow.
Jabba or Brian?
I wonder about that.
Well, I have not noticed anything tipping pitches wise, but would you be okay with? I mean, I've never been a big ZMAC guy, but he's been doing pretty well. He got out of a big situation the other day. So, would you be fine with either of those guys in the eighth inning role, or just a eighth inning guy by committee type situation?
I'm not a BMAC guy at all. I think that's no big secret. He has been doing pretty. I don't trust Shaw right now. But Chamberlain, you said it. He's been nailed. He's been liked out. Struck all four batters that he faced today. Struck out all four batters. Otero, he is what he is. I kind of figured that if he's coming in the game probably lost either way, be it we're so far ahead or they're so far ahead. Yesterday, though, I was not happy at all with the fact that even though the matchup dictated why Crockett was taking the ninth inning with the three left-handers, if you're gonna have your closer and your closer is quote your best reliever, you have to put him in that spot. I did not like that. The bullpen this year has been a quandary from start to finish for the most, and that's one of the big problems with this team. You never feel safe with the lead.
Yeah, I'm right with you, and I did see that Twitter. I don't want to say argument, but like Twitter conversation you had the other day about Crockett in there and when to use your best reliever. And I'm with you. I think some managers nowadays kind of overuse the lefty on lefty, righty on righty matchup, and it has to be a left-hander versus left-hander. Even the left-handed pitcher is struggling, and it's not a great lefty out of the bullpen, and it's a solid lefty hitter. Why not bring in Allen or even Shaw? I guess there.
Yeah. It's just the unwritten baseball rule that you have to do things a certain way, and they just get locked into that line. It's just like, and then of course he gave up yesterday, or was charged for it. Kind of blew that game.
And then I want to transition back.
Weekend.
What was that?
Weekend just bad all around.
Oh, absolutely. And I want to finish off here with the offense a little bit. The guy I'm starting to fall in love with, never thought I'd say this, Jose Ramirez. He's hitting the ball. He's fielding the ball wherever he's playing, and he's playing basically everywhere. He can play second, third. Don't want to see him at shortstop, so I'm getting that out of my vocabulary for him. He can play the corner outfield spots, and I guess if need be, center field, but we have enough with Lonnie trying to play center, which is so I'm not trying to put him in center or shortstop, but corner outfield spots and second and third. So he's very versatile. He's hitting the ball to all fields with some occasional pop to even the opposite field, which I like to see. I'm about ready to declare him the everyday third baseman, or at least I want him to play third base every day. Uribe, I'm actually very impressed with him defensively. I never thought I'd say that too, but his hitting is not what it used to be. He can't hit a breaking ball, and I want this infusion of youth to keep coming, and I think Ramirez is better fit for this team, and I'm ready to see him play every day. Now, do you still want Uribe to play, or are you with me on
I'm
Jose
100% with you. I'm 1,000% with you. I think at this point of his career, Uribe is what Giambi was for us. He's the Yoda of the clubhouse, the guy that the young guys come to for pointers or whatever. He can't hit anymore.
We have like 10 Yodas though, with like Napoli and like Davis and all and Marlon Byrd and all these veterans that we signed this year.
Yeah. I think he's done. You're right. His defense is better than what we were expecting, but he can. Yeah, he can only hit a fastball. Been able to lay off a breaking ball at any point of his career. So if somebody needed an extra bat at the deadline or whatever, I would have to think that he'd be available for somebody else.
And even if he was, the Indians let him go for some reason. The minor leagues, every team is in. All 4 active teams are in first place right now, and the Clippers have a lot of veterans that are just kind of tweeners, like Joey Butler and Robbie Grossman, guys like that. But they also have a solid group of young guys that I think can contribute, like Ronnie Rodriguez. Like I like this Bryson Miles guy too.
Mm-hmm.
And even Aaron Gonzalez is doing well this year. So I'd be comfortable with bringing up any of these guys. Ronnie Rodriguez is probably my favorite guy on the Clippers. He's very, very versatile. He kind of plays everywhere, which is a asset that all managers in the MLB like. And he's hitting .316 right now. So I'm comfortable with any of these guys being brought up to fill that void if Uribe is let go. But like I said, all 4 teams are in first place. Do you make anything of that, or is that just kind of like the Indians always have a good minor league organization, or is that something that you're proud of?
In the future, once these kids get up here, it means that we have a good solid core after not really having much of anything, of value to other teams. Excuse me. It means that our future is bright, but I'm just one of those people that wants everything right now, and it's not coming out the exact way that I want it. So, but maybe this will teach me some patience in the long run. So
I'm with you there. And then clearly the Indians, like you said before, cannot get a winning streak. But I was kind of looking back on some of the wild card teams. And last year, the wild card winners had 86 and 87 wins respectively. So the more and more I think about it, I'm comfortable hovering around 500. And I was all comfortable to say that on the podcast. But there's just days like this where it's just so easy to get above the hump, and you have to beat these bad teams.
Exactly. That's why I'm so on edge right now, is because you're looking. And yeah, they are a Major League Baseball team, but let's be honest, they've won 9 games coming in today, 2 today, 10 games now. They have to win 2 out of 3. I'm sorry, there's no other way around it. You have to beat the bottom feeders if you want to be taken seriously in October. And this past week, including the Houston series as well again, was just a complete, utter downer of a week because like I said, you're looking at it, you're thinking you can make them hay, and they didn't. So, but yeah, you're right. The wild card is our saving grace right now, so it's not really that big of a deal in the grand scheme of things. We'll see the Twins again. They'll come back to us. We'll hammer it out, and we got a lot more time to play against them. Just this past weekend was really very, very, very frustrating.
Yeah, like I said, 100% agree with that. But the team ahead of us right now, the only team ahead of us in the AL Central, Red Sox have been on a torrid pace. I did not expect anything from them. I think I predicted them to finish last in the division, actually, behind the Twins. Do you see them sustaining? Obviously, they're not going to be this solid all year long, but do you see them as a serious contender for a first-place team? Because I'm not worried about them, but I'm still worried about the Royals, who are like a game or so behind us. So who are you worried about in the Central right now?
Well, obviously, I think you have to worry more about the teams in front of you. But the good news is we've only played the White Sox twice because of the rain out. So we have the 4-game series next week. So we can make up some ground. There we go again, talking about the potential of this team and what they can do. Hopefully they take a little bit of soul searching heading into tomorrow, and they start getting their butts in gear because you would like to see them take care of their business with some of the teams that they're supposed to be. That should be really no surprise whether or not they sweep them or not.
So, do you agree that this next week and a half or so is kind of I don't want to say make or break because it's way too early, but it's very, very important. We have to take 3 out of 4 against the Reds because the Reds are not a good ball club. We are supposed to be a good ball club. We need to start beating these bottom dwellers. The Red Sox have been good. That's going to be a big series to see where we are. And then the White Sox, the division leader. So do you think this is as important as I'm thinking it is? Because I think if we just go under 500, that's really going to put us back. I think the Royals might make a run. That'll put us a while or a ways back from the White Sox. Or do you think this is just another 10 or so stretch?
Yeah, I do. That's why I was so excited about this week. I thought, when you these teams all bundled into one stretch, you're thinking, wow, it could really be a springboard. So, yeah, I think they really have to do something tomorrow, starting tomorrow, if they want to be taken seriously as contenders. Yeah, I do believe that this is a very not a season-ending streak, but it could really potentially spiral in that direction if they don't do something with it. So, fingers crossed.
Absolutely, fingers crossed, because like we've been saying all year and all podcasts, this team does have potential, and it just seems so easy for them to reach it. But they just get close and then just kind of rip our hearts out, like the Believeland 30 for 30 last night. I don't know if you got a chance to watch that, but it was almost
it's not up here yet.
What was that?
Not up here yet on TSN here in Toronto, but I'm pretty sure it'll be posted up here eventually. We usually get things about a month behind when we get up here for the most part.
You must be the only person in Toronto right now not watching the Raptors game.
I don't, personally, I just wanted the Cavs to get the 7 days of rest, and they got the 7 days of rest. Whoever wins today is fine with me. I don't care.
I'm with you on that. We're running out of time here, even talking basketball right now. All right, so thank you for listening, everybody. Chris Burnham joined me today. Great guest. He writes for IPL. Again, he had an article last Thursday about Danny Salazar trade rumors. Did not get a chance to talk about that today, but I agree with everything he wrote. It was a very solid article. Check that out. Follow him on Twitter at CMB1979. I was your host today, Noah Gross, on Twitter at Noah_Gross27. I also write for IPL. Thank you for listening to the first IPL podcast. This is a big week for the Indians, and go Tribe.